I was born and I was raised in Iran, and I studied graphic art, graphic design in the University of Tehran, Faculty of Fine Arts. And then when I came to Finland, I also studied in the Indo-European faculty in University of Helsinki.
That sounds really interesting. Could you tell us, how did you become an artist and what are your sources of inspiration for your art?
Well, I always liked to do drawings and paintings, and when I was young, my father encouraged me to continue or pursue fine arts academically, or so that's why I studied graphic design in the university. My source of inspiration is mythology above all, archaeology, all the old structures, buildings, artifacts, everything that is related to old cultures fascinates me.
And could you tell us a bit about this beautiful exhibition of yours?
Yes, thank you. When I was translating Kalevala, I was doing lots of sketches, and I was trying to imagine everything that was in the world of Kalevala. I was trying to find out everything, what the dwellings were like, what was the costume, and all the utensils at that time people were using. And I did lots of sketches. And then afterwards I did illustrations, and I did several illustrations from one scene that affected me most emotionally. And after I learned how to paint digitally, I decided to turn them into a collection of digital paintings. And that's what you see in this exhibition today.
And as you have done lots of paintings and digital arts, but you are also a translator. Among other publications, you have translated the Kalevala epos into Farsi. How did you first find about the Kalevala?
Yes, when I came to Finland to pursue postgraduate studies, I was studying history of art for a while, and it was during that period of time that I got fascinated by Kalevala's paintings. So it was that time that I got acquainted with Kalevala, and then I went from one artist to the other. I studied their works. At that time, I couldn't speak Finnish at all. I couldn't understand Kalevala, but I was just trying to find everything through those paintings. And that was the first acquaintance with the Kalevala epos.
A fascinating journey, actually. And may I ask, why did you choose to translate this particular book?
Well, there were two major reasons. First of all, this book is a valuable epos which tells about cultures and all these folklore stories was not known in Iran, a country that all Persian-speaking people are not little. There are like 100 million people speaking Farsi. And it was sad that they didn't know about Kalevala. That was one reason. The other reason was this resemblance between the work of Lönnrot with what Ferdowsi did in Iran. He was the composer of Epic of Shahnameh in 10 AD, 10th century AD. And it was very fascinating for me to see these two persons. They did the same effort for their country to revive culture, all the valuable informations about the past, and also to revive the language. So that was fascinating for me. Two persons living in two different eras, in two different parts of the world, and they did the same thing for their country. That was so valuable for me, and that's why I and my husband decided to translate Kalevala into Persian.
What an interesting coincidence, if you can call it a coincidence. It's a truly a fascinating story. Yeah. And translating such a long and detailed book takes a lot of work. How did you prepare for the process?
Indeed, it was difficult. It was not a very easy task. I had to study and educate myself. I had to learn everything about the way of living, the people, everything, stories. I had to educate myself. I was reading lots of books. I was reading articles, researchers that other people did. And actually with my husband, we had to also study encyclopedias, geography. We had to study lexicons, not only in Persian, the language, but also in the Finnish lexicons. We had to study everything. We had to know about flora and fauna in order to find out the exact translations in our own language. So we had to work very, very hard for it. It took us a long time. I would say 3 years, more than 3 years.
An impressive amount of work, certainly. And one of the main themes in Kalevala is the culture of Karelia of the White Sea. How did you familiarize yourself with the culture of Karelia of the White Sea and Finnish nature and other phenomena very typical to Finland? And were there some phenomena that you found especially interesting?
Yes, there was. Again, I didn't have an opportunity to travel to Karelia. I had to, again, educate myself. I had to study even harder to find out about the culture of the White Sea and the origin of actually Kalevala. Since my minor studies in the University of Helsinki was archaeology, I was able to find out about the remote past of that area. But I had, again, to learn a lot, and I had to do lots of research in regards to that. And in this way, I would say that I was able to find my way in able to translate accurately. And in 1999, we traveled to Karelia thanks to the Finnish Literature Society and Kalevala Society Foundation. We were able to visit that part of the Karelia, and it was fascinating journey. I would never forget when I travel. It was beautiful.
If I may ask, what was your favorite part of the journey?
I was able to listen to Santra when she was singing Kalevala songs, and that was fascinating. Also to see the dwellings, it was also beautiful. The nature, of course, there is beautiful, but to see everything able to see them in close, it was so great for me, because I noticed that I was happy because I noticed that I didn't make any mistakes. I was imagining everything very correctly. So that was great. That was a good experience.
I'm sure. And while translating the book, you have obviously learned the epos inside out. If I may ask, what are your personal views on Kalevala? What does the epos mean to you personally?
It means a lot. I can never get tired of reading Kalevala. What I love about it is this, its relation with nature, how heroes are, everything that they say or they do is really it's all about how to be with the nature. Even when they talk about being sad, they compare themselves with a bird swimming in icy water. Or when they are happy, they are like a strawberry in a beautiful sunny field. That amazes me. And also I like it when, for instance, when Lemminkäinen goes to the forest to find the game, he asks the nature to help him, and then he offers gold in return to the nature, to thank the nature for providing him with the game. That is so beautiful. And
it truly is. I can't do anything but agree with you on that. And what, in your opinion, is the meaning of national epics to modern day people? Why should we read them, and what could we learn from them?
Actually, we could learn from them a lot, and to be related to the past. The past is the road for the future, and the epos should not be forgotten, especially now in this globalization word that we hear all the time. And I really think that the tradition should be continued, and especially this is so valuable information for people. So not to forget about their past and to go further and take it with them.
It is truly important that we remember our roots and understand how we came to this moment, what is the background, and how can we walk forward from this point of time.
Yes.
Truly. May I actually ask you a personal recommendation? How would you advertise Kalevala to someone who has not heard about it beforehand?
Well, actually, it depends on the audience, but I would say no wonder a fantasy story like Lord of the Rings goes so everywhere in the world, and everybody knows about it. Because I think that folklore speaks to the psyche, and heroes, myth, they all fascinates people, because I think that inside them they think that they are related to them and they should not forget about it. And that's why they like to read about it. And that's why Lord of the Rings has such an impact worldwide. And how Tolkien itself was inspired by Kalevala. So that's my recommendation. Everybody should read it.
Indeed. Thank you for this. And we have discussed your arts and Kalevala quite a bit. May I also ask you something about our city, Kuhmo? What would be your recommendations for sights to see and things to explore while visiting Kuhmo?
I like to come back again and be in the nature. I think the nature here in Kuhmo is one of a kind. It's so pure and so untouched. Forests, lakes. This is so important for a visitor. They should come here and purify and be relaxed in the nature. It's one of a kind, and especially at this time that with this pandemic and everything, people try to seek refuge, and I think Kuhmo is one of the best places they can visit. And also Unicaco, it's fantastic with all the exhibitions and concerts that it offers. I would recommend everybody come here and see it.
That's wonderful to hear. And I would also like to encourage all of our viewers to come and see Mercedeh's wonderful exhibition.
Thank you.
And thank you for agreeing to this. It was truly a pleasure talking with you, and I wish you a very happy stay in Kuhmo.
Thank you very much. Likewise.
وینماینن آن پیر پایا برد روزگار خود را در باسرهای دیار وینا در خلنگزارهای کالوالا. خواند سروده های خود را، خواند و چشم بازی کرد. سرود همه روزها پی در پی، خواند همه شبها پشتا پشت. زان فسونهای یادآور باستان، زان خواستگاه‌های بنیادین، آنچه کودکان جملگی نمی‌خوانند، همه مردینه‌ها هم در نمی‌یابند. در این روزگار اندوهزا، در این جهان میرا، آگهی به دور دست رسید، آوازه زبان به زبان گردید. از وینمینن و فسونخانیش، از مرد مردان و پردانیش، آوازه تا به نیمروز رفت، آگهی به سرزمین شمال رسید. بود نوجوانی یوکاهاین نام، لاپی پسری نازک اندام. یک بار که به روستا رفت، شنید زان سخنان شگفت، زان منترهای مبارزه جوی، زان برورهای بالاتر. در باسرهای دیار وینا، در خلنگزارهای کالوالا، برتر از آنچه خود داشت در دیرش، زانها که آموخته بود از پدر پیرش. او زانچه نیوشید پژمان گشت، همه گاهش به رشک گذشت. خواستید که وینماینن کنیاگر، باشد به افسونگری از او بهتر. پس در آمد به نزد مار، فراروی مامک غمخوار. رأی به رفتن داد، آرزوی در سپاردن کرد. زی کلبه های دیار وینا به کارزار وینماینن. پدر پسرش را پناهید، پدر باز داشت، مادر نگاه داشت.